Breaking news as Lightning Lane Premier Pass finally makes its debut after many rumors about how much this was going to cost. In fact, it cost twice as much, if not more, than what we originally thought. I thought this was going to be $150. Sounds like it's going to be $400 a pop on top of the price of theme park tickets. There's also strings attached, and that price might go up. Let's talk about Lightning Lane Premier Pass here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is my breaking news correspondent, Mr. VashSky. Vash, you appear to be on the ground. The destruction of the Walt Disney Company appears to be nearly complete. They have overshot Universal's Express Pass by maybe $100 to $200. What in the world is going on?
That's right, Jonas. We're here on the ground of Walt Disney World and destruction of the Walt Disney Company. You can see it for miles. No, I'm going to stop that. But this is really something, Jonas. Now, we've been keeping track of this story here, and I'll give Blog Mickey credit. They've been keeping track of this story as well. And this is a very interesting set of events here. We have breaking here for you the premiere of Lightning Lane Premier Pass, which we have, like I said, been covering for quite some time. Let's go ahead and get right into it because there's a lot of machinations for this new product. Lightning Lane Premier Pass officially announced for Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Originally, this was going to be a Disneyland system, and then a couple days later, it broke that Walt Disney World was also considering a system like this, and there are big differences between the two. Disney has just announced a Lightning Lane Premier Pass for Walt Disney World and Disneyland, confirming our early reporting. Here are the announced details. In the coming weeks, Disneyland Resort and Walt Disney World Resort will begin piloting a new service providing expedited entry to theme park attractions, Lightning Lane Premier Pass. Premier Pass will be offered in very limited quantities and will give guests one-time entry to each available Lightning Lane entrance in the theme parks that they are visiting that day. This includes attractions included in both Lightning Lane Multi-Pass and Single Pass, but with Lightning Lane Premier Pass, guests do not need to select an experience time. Lightning Lane Premier Pass will be a premium offering, and prices will vary based on date and theme park guests are visiting. That's a key point of the system right here, because obviously not all parks are the same at Walt Disney World. Some parks only have 5 attractions. Others have, 20 or so? So it does absolutely vary.
Absolutely amazing. So scroll up just a little bit here. So just looking at this, first of all, they say limited quantities. I'm hoping that there's a limited number of people that are willing to spend $600 on a Disney vacation, because we're talking about $200, a day, 600 a day. We're talking about $200 to get into the parks on the maximum day, and then $400 on top of that. And I'm assuming that Lightning Lane Premier Pass is going to be priced higher based off of attendance in the parks. And yes, Disneyland now has a tier 6 ticket that is above the $200 mark. So the kind of insane person that would pay $600 to go to Disneyland, hopefully for the only time ever, because wow, that's the kind of person who, I don't know. I'm looking at this. It looks like you don't have to be on your phone as much, but I'm thinking the person at that $600 price point probably not worried about that particular complaint.
I don't think so. Maybe they have somebody managing their phone for them at that price point.
That's true. It would end up being $1,200 for you and your butler.
Yes, exactly. No, it's quite a bit. But here's what's really interesting about this as well, Jonas. So for Disneyland Resort, it's basically $400. For Walt Disney World, it gets the variances. They get pretty crazy here. Scott Gouston actually broke it down. Not only the differences between the two resorts, but when it comes to Walt Disney World, the differences between each park and its various pricing. So it's depending on the date you go, Animal Kingdom will be anywhere between $129 to $199, Epcot $169 to $249, Hollywood Studios $269 to $349, and then Magic Kingdom $329 through $449. That's where that $400
and that
price
is
point comes from.
Not including tax. Wow.
It's not including tax. Now, here's what's really interesting about this. If we go over to the differences between each resort, Disneyland Resort is offering a resort-wide Premier Pass, where it's going to be starting at just about $400 per person. Whereas Walt Disney World, those prices are only reflect that theme park. So they're not giving you the entire resort with those prices, just that park. So if you have a park hopper, well, you don't benefit from this Premier Pass system at your second park. Whereas Disneyland Resort, you do. So it's one of the big, big differences here.
Well, this is ridiculous. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
with Disney California Adventure, you can just walk out of Disneyland and go over to Disney California Adventure. Walt Disney World with the park hopping, you're limited by the fact that you have to take transport to get from one park to
Right.
another. As a native Floridian, I've always felt like that was a bit of a ripoff. Like, no, 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 just go back another day. You're part of your way towards paying for another ticket. If you got one day, whatever. But the other thing that we haven't focused on too much here is the available to guests at Disney Deluxe Villa and DVC hotels.
Right.
That
Right.
is another hiccup here. So you can't just be somebody who is an annual pass holder and wants to go to the park. You have to be someone who is staying on property, or at least is paying to stay on property. Maybe you can add yourself to someone else's stay there, but wow,
Hmm.
those Disney Deluxe villas and DVC hotels, those are pretty cheap though, right, Vash?
Yeah, they're just starting at a scant probably $300 for like the lowest deluxe ever. Probably it's probably more like $500 starting, and then they average, especially the Seven Seas Lagoon hotels, probably average around $700 to $800. They're a night, and that's to buy your way into a system like Premier Pass, because at Walt Disney World you will have had to have your stay booked at a deluxe resort, even to get the option. Scott Guston was answering questions in Twitter, and he was saying that the option of purchasing Premier Pass within the app won't likely come up if you don't actually have a deluxe stay as part of your vacation. Now, for Disneyland, that restriction does not apply there.
Now, there is one thing. Of course, we often talk about Universal, and I was saying for a very long time, well, Disney needs to do what Universal is doing and just have a more expensive line skipping option. Yeah, there it is, right there, $120 up to 320. Yikes! Oh my goodness!
But that's for unlimited though. So
Right,
for the actual Universal Express, what is it?
Universal Express.
Yes, for the most reflective option at Universal, you're looking at Universal Express, just the regular version, because remember it's one time per participating ride. If we didn't mention that, let's go ahead and mention that these prices and this service will only get you on these attractions one time. This is not an unlimited pass here, whereas Universal does have a tier that is unlimited for a higher price. But for its standard express pass, you're looking at anywhere between 89 to 289, depending on both the park and the day that you actually go. And they do actually break them out by park. You can see right here. This is an express pass unlimited for Universal Studios Florida, for example, whereas this is an express pass unlimited for Islands of Adventure. So, but by that comparison, they are following the Universal model quite closely.
And also, if you stay in certain hotels on Universal property, it's not that you get access to the pass and then you can pay for it. It's you just get it for free if you're in certain hotels. I'm not
That's a great point.
necessarily I've done the cost benefit analysis on it. It did not work out for the last trip that I was on there, but it's worth pointing out that it becomes a comp and therefore a competitive advantage for
Right.
Universal on this. I get it that there are people with extreme budget elasticity who are able to pay this amount of money. The limited time I don't know. At this point, why not just join Club 33? Why not just go work for the parks? If you're not planning on making any money, just get yourself a part-time job at the parks and go on all of your off days. Because if you want to go be at the parks this often, I just this is a ridiculous amount of money, and I am uncomfortable with the idea that it costs this amount of money to go to Disney. Um, I have some friends in a Universal, not a Universal, in a Disney annual pass holder group, and he's sending me messages all the time, screen caps with the names removed, of people who are saying this has just gotten too much. We have been pass holders since the 1980s, 1970s, whatever, and they have just decided that it costs too much money to go to Walt Disney World. I have to think at this point that they are actually pushing towards a price point that gets the poor people out of the park, gets the normal budget people out of the park. They want this to be back to being a once in a lifetime trip, aspirational, because they're not making that money off of us poor people.
Apparently not. Not if the minimum that you have to spend is for a deluxe resort stay. There's no way they're I don't see anybody beneath their means actually trying to attain that level. It looks like they're looking to make their money off of, like you said, the super rich right there. We have heard some softness as reported by Hugh Johnston during a recent earnings call for the next couple of quarters, and we have it on pretty good authority, Jonas, that the Lightning Lane sales may have gone down. This might be why they implemented the changes to DAS that they did in order to prevent what they, I think, allege is abuse of that system, and why they might be debuting a system like this Premier Pass here. Just a couple of things to mention in terms of the differences between them. Walt Disney World, you can purchase it up to 7 days prior. Disneyland Resort, you can purchase it up to 2 days prior. Like we said, this is only, you only get access to those attractions one time. And this is augmenting the current multi-pass or single pass options that they have. Now, here on That Park Place, we've been talking about, hey, look, listen, a Premier Pass like setup might be beneficial to resort guests, whether you purchase it or not, if they were just to limit it just to a Premier Pass type system, in which you have a higher price point, very few people actually opt in, and then that's your skip the line feature completely, or exclusively, I should say. Here, this is just another tier on what is already a complicated system and an overused system, to the degree that it actually decreases the enjoyment and guest experience for all guests, whether they use it or not.
Yeah, and for $449 plus tax per person on top of the price of tickets, they better know
Yeah.
my name at the ride and welcome me in without me having to be in the line with anybody else. That is
And
that is an that is a stupid amount of money.
yes, and we know, Jonas, that that's not going to happen. You're going to be in the same Lightning Lane queue with everybody else. This is not maybe they don't send you to a third queue option. This is not a VIP tour experience. This is just the ability, Jonas, not to pre-select your attractions, but just to kind of go on them at will. I'm not seeing the value here, especially if we are keeping the 50% opt-in numbers that the company likes to tout on earnings calls.
Well, we probably need to throw this to our commenters. Hey guys, what do you think about $400 on top of the price of a ticket in order to not have to look at your phone and go to whatever ride you want at a Disneyland or Disney World resort?
One time?
One time. All right. Well, if you could comment one time, that would be great. Hit the like button if you could. And of course, we are going to be following this situation with great interest here on That Park Place. So, subscribe and all that stuff.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.